In the vast expanse of Rome, a young boy named Commodus began his journey. He was just a child, yet destined to follow the illustrious path his father had walked. Born into the mighty Roman Empire, his father, Marcus Aurelius, was held in high regard throughout the known world. At a tender age of 5, Commodus was thrust into the world of politics. His childhood became intertwined with the weighty responsibilities and demands of power, forsaking the carefree days most children enjoyed. However, hidden behind his family's fame, Commodus started showing signs of being too harsh and indulgent. When he came into power, things in Rome changed. It was like going back to the old ways, where leaders passed their position down to their children, just like the ancient emperors did. As Commodus grew up, his education became super important. His dad, Marcus Aurelius, was not just a ruler, but also a thinker. He taught Commodus about stoicism, focusing on doing what's right, thinking logically, and controlling oneself. It was a time when Commodus learned a lot and was influenced by the brilliant minds of Rome. It's pretty surprising considering the path he later chose for himself. Commodus and his father had a complex bond marked by respect, fear, and an anticipation of what the future might hold. Even though Marcus Aurelius was really smart, his love for his son made it hard for him to see how ambitious and potentially cruel Commodus could be. He believed Commodus would be a great leader, carrying on the empire's values. But he didn't know that underneath, there was a possible tyrant waiting to emerge. In the fancy palace, Commodus became really interested in gladiators and their violent shows. That fascination started to grow strong. His obsession with strength and power was a stark deviation from his father's teachings of virtue and wisdom. People thought his early interests were just kid stuff, nothing serious. But later on, those interests turned out to be warning signs of the scary things Commodus would do as a ruler in Rome. As he got older, Commodus became pretty scary. He was really into showing how tough he was, doing crazy stuff in arenas and making everything about himself, even renaming months to his own name. When he ruled, things got really bad. There was a lot of violence, he was super paranoid, and he had these huge ideas about himself that weren't true at all. This was totally different from how his dad believed in being wise and good. His decision to withdraw from territories hard fought and won by Marcus Aurelius ignited dissent among those loyal to his father's vision. There was a strong feeling of betrayal, and inside the palace, people were really unhappy and upset. When he became emperor, at first, Commodus seemed like he wanted to carry on his dad's work. He made a big announcement in the palace, saying, "I'm Commodus, Marcus Aurelius' son, and I'm your emperor now." At the beginning, people liked how he ruled and cheered for him. But as time went on, being in charge started to become really hard for him. He had a tough time holding on to the lands his dad conquered. When he decided to give them up, the people who were still loyal to his dad got really upset and unhappy. As time went on, the emperor who once seemed full of hope started falling apart. His focus on being really grand and famous became more important than what he originally wanted to do. There were a lot of secret plans going on. Lucilla, who was part of the family, tried to take the throne with her husband, Pompeianus. But their plan didn't work out, and they had a quick and unhappy ending. At the same time, the Praetorian prefects, the guys in charge of the emperor's security, were playing a sneaky game. Their positions went up and down, showing how the emperor's friendships changed and how worried he was getting. When Commodus was in charge, Rome became a place of fear and too much luxury. He got really scared of everyone and thought there were enemies everywhere. He started doing whatever he wanted with the Senate, making his every fancy idea into a rule. That made everyone feel unsure and really scared all the time. The things he decided to do as rules were often strange and only seemed to help himself. That didn't make the people any happier. They were still really unhappy with how things were going. The Senate, once a powerful governing body, was now reduced to a puppet show, its strings pulled by Commodus's capricious commands. He dismissed and appointed senators at will, their lives hanging in the balance of his fickle moods. His cruelty was not confined to the political sphere, as he increasingly took pleasure in the suffering of others, staging elaborate spectacles of violence for his amusement. Meanwhile, the people of Rome, burdened by heavy taxes and witnessing the blatant disregard for their welfare, began to stir. Whispers of dissatisfaction turned into hushed meetings in the dark, the seeds of rebellion taking root. Even though Rome was falling apart because of how Commodus ruled, he kept on enjoying his power, not realizing how bad things were getting. Even with all the political mess, Commodus kept on living in luxury. He had huge parties and a group of people he was involved with, but how he got them wasn't very clear or honest. When Tygidius Perennis took over, things changed a lot. People started thinking there might be a plan to take over the power from Commodus. In Rome, people were talking quietly about rebelling and wanting to govern themselves. Commodus's descent into madness deepened as he sought affirmation through the arenas, donning the garb of a gladiator. This audacious act, reducing the emperor to the status of a mere entertainer, shattered societal norms and incited outrage among the nobility. His clumsy performances provoked laughter from the very people he aimed to impress. Commodus became totally full of himself. He bragged about killing thousands in the arena, charged a lot for people to see him, and even killed those who were more popular than him. As time went on, his rule became all about being really cruel and showing off, which made the people feel really far away from him. Stay tuned for part 2, where a daring conspiracy unfolds, leading to a dramatic climax and the downfall of a tyrant. The saga of Commodus is far from over. The stage is set, the players are ready, and the final act is about to begin.